this week's Indian Lake Fishing Report, brought to you by Mike's Bait and Tackle, Route 235, Lakeview, Ohio. This week's report is for the week of July 16th. The current water temperature is roughly 72 degrees, and with these rainstorms moving in, hopefully it cools off just a little bit more. That should produce a lot of good fishing. Mike's Bait and Tackle just got in a bunch of live bait for all you big cat hunters, so make sure you get down there and get some of them before he runs out. They don't last long. Mike's also has everything you need to help give you a successful day. I'll say it again, successful day on the water. Let me tell you, this week's report is going to be just a little bit different. I want to talk about a couple things. I made a trip down to the lake last weekend, and had a couple stories I wanted to tell you. They can be educational, so stay with me on this here and you'll understand where I'm going with it. All right, last weekend Tosh Collins invited me down to the islands to do some fishing, and it was a great weekend to say the least. But I'd like to thank Tosh for welcoming me down there once again. It was great. And if you didn't see the video, make sure you go back a couple videos to about last Sunday here and check it out. All right, while I was waiting on Tosh to do a kids giveaway, he gave away a brand new fishing boat. I kind of hung around Moundwood for a little bit, and really didn't care if I caught anything. I just wanted to sit there, relax, drink a cup of coffee, and threw a pole in. I sat there and watched about four. Matter of fact, it was 4 bass boats that come through there. They shotgun their chatter baits and spinner baits on down through that channel and under the bridge. I didn't see any of them switch up any tackle or poles. I did overhear 3 out of the 4 boats complaining about the lake, how it sucked, how bad it was for fishing, and blah blah blah, on and on and on. And kind of got me a little disappointed there for a little bit until after they left. When they cleared out, I was watching this young fella with a small crankbait, shallow diving crankbait. He worked that water on both sides of them bridges and under the bridge that them guys just left. Within 20 minutes, he pulled out 3 saugeye and 2 largemouth bass. Made me just have to laugh. You know, kudos to him, man. That was great. But it just goes to prove a point, man. You know, sometimes as anglers or beginning fishermen, you know, you get in the habit of sticking with your go-to bait. And sometimes it's just as simple as switching up to something else, give them some flavor or a little finesse, you know, which brings up another thing. You know, this weekend you might want to downsize your baits, you know, throw some different colors. You might be amazed at what it'll do for you. Okay, the boat giveaway. Last year, me and Tosh was talking, and he was already giving things away, helping kids. He's been doing that for a long time. And just about anybody in need, he's always been that way. And we came up with a name, put our heads together there, and come up with Fish It Forward, hashtag Fish It Forward. Kind of like pay it forward, but fish it forward. Great program, and he's been doing wonderful things with it. He asked me to come down to Jean's Marine with him, and that's why I was waiting down there at that bridge for him to come by so we could go down there and film that giveaway, which that video is on my YouTube channel also. Man, it was wonderful, man. They gave away a brand new boat to a well-deserving kid. Jean's throwed in a new trolling motor, And I know there's M. Lambert baits that threw a bunch of stick baits in there, custom painted. I can't remember all of the rest of you guys. I'm sorry. But there's a whole bunch of them that come together to made that kid's day. I mean, I'm sure that kid's never going to forget that. And I hope he catches a lot of fish on that stuff and we get to see some stories from him in the future. Matter of fact, I think we ought to catch up with him sometime and get some video of him out in the boat fishing or something. So you're more than welcome to use, and we'd love for you to use that hashtag fish it forward. If you ever plan on giving something away, clean out your tackle boxes, folks. Clean out your garages. If you got fishing poles, anything that's got to do with boating or fishing, you think that a young kid could use, contact Tosh Collins, or I'm sure you could probably make some arrangements to drop it by Gene's Marina if you can't get a hold of him. Let him know that, hey, that's for Fish It Forward for Tosh, for him to do a special giveaway for a youngster or somebody that's in need in a special circumstance. Let me jump on to something else here. We're going to get right into the fishing thing, but I'm not going to tell you every spot on the lake because we'll just jam places up. If I tell you to go to Dream Bridge, you're going to have 50 boats there and 2 can get in. And by the time you get there, things are going to be turned off. You know, the fish ain't going to be biting there no more or whatever. But there has been a lot of great success there. There always has been. I wanted to talk a little bit about custom jigs. I had Mike at Mike's Bait and Tackle make me some custom jigs. And I've been field testing them. If you haven't seen them videos, I've done a couple of them already. They're on my YouTube channel. Just go back a couple days. Matter of fact, I did one yesterday. Great success. Let me show you what I've got here. I've got a box of them right here. It's just a few. So I kind of made a homemade box till I get a good jig box. But right here, they've been working well. And I've caught more fish this year than probably any year I can think of because I downsized and used different tactics. And this little yellow spider right here, holy crap, that thing is wicked. I got into a school of crappie, I think it was about Wednesday, and it was one after another. They just annihilated that little spider right there. I didn't get a chance to try these other 2 spiders out yet, and I need to test these 2. I think 1 or 2 more. I caught a big cat on one of them. We'll get into that in a minute. Pair that up with a little carrot float, little slip float, and you'll do well. Now, while we're talking about these jigs, or any jig, okay, like I said, I caught probably 90% of my fish this year on small jigs. And it's a finesse bait. They do well. Tip them with a minnow, a piece of night crawler, or a wax worm, and you're going to have fun. I mean, it's a multi-species thing. You're going to catch mixed bags. You'll be surprised. While I was down at Tosh's fishing, I wanted to address the weeds in the lake here. You know, the whole lake has weeds, and you're at somebody else's house. You're at the fish's house. You know, it's their domain. You need to learn to adapt and overcome them situations, and that's a part of the fun of fishing. You know, learning to overcome certain situations and come out a winner. One thing I did learn about them little jigs is you just never know what they're going to catch. I've caught bass, I've caught crappie, I've caught catfish, sawguy, you name it. They'll just swallow them, man. And I pray every time I hook them in the lips so I don't have to get down in their gut. But not all the time they swallow them all the way. So now I had to talk myself in to letting you guys know one of my secret fishing tactics, which worked for me at Tasha's last Saturday. I put something to work. You guys are going to appreciate this, and I hope you take me serious on it and use it, because it will help you overcome the situation with weeds and have a more successful day on the water. I introduced to you the Wobble Bobber. Now, I'm not sure how many different companies make these, but this one just happens to be a Thill. Okay? You should be able to pick them up at your big box store or your local tackle shops around the lake. This weighted bobber has a weight in the bottom, and this thing's just like crazy. Okay? Pair that up with your favorite swim bait. Downsize, get you a little smaller swim bait. Okay? Now that swim bait paired with Wobble Bobber, this sucker's doing this. These Wobble Bobbers were made for, I'm not going to say rough water, but something with a little chop, some rolling water, work in the channel, definitely out, throw into the main lake. Okay? What it's going to do is wobble around like this, and it's going to work this. And it's very important that you have this jig or this swim bait tied on with a loop knot. Now, if you don't know what a loop knot is, mail me and we'll, or comment down below. We'll make sure you find out how to do one. And what that loop knot does, keeps you, just a regular knot is going to hang your bait like this. It'll be up and down the water like that. That's not good. That loop knot will let the water pressure push the bottom of this bait up, and it's going to hold that bait in the water like a normal fish would be. Okay, he's going to be like this. That'll let that tail work back and forth and up and down, and it's going to be a more natural situation there. So this is a killer setup, and I really had to beat myself to death to give this away. Okay, it works. It produced a lot of sawguy for me, bass, white bass, and catfish. This particular swim bait, I can't remember. I've got a bag of them I've had for a while. I believe they're Berkeley. But this thing has caught upwards of 100 fish. And there's no rips, no tears. I mean, there's some scuffs on it, but it's just, wow. It's been through hell. It works, folks. Go find you a Wobble Bobber. Matter of fact, throw two or three of them in your tackle box. You'll thank me. And when you do, you start catching stuff on them, make sure you let me know about it. Love all your guys' comments. For the people that comment, the likes, I'd love to get my likes up a lot more. I know I'm not a professional at this video stuff. I'm trying to make content better and more interesting all the time as we go. Let's keep it going, folks. I love it. The weed lines. I fished the weed lines, the seawalls, rocks, and docks last weekend. I had this swim bait and my other bait set anywhere from 3 to 5 foot. Tipped with a minnow. Killed him. I even caught my first flathead last weekend. Thanks, Tosh. I took his crash course on flatheads. It got me one. So now I have flathead fever. I'll be back. Yep, the weed lines. That wobble bobber is going to get you bouncing up and down. You can work the top of them weed lines, that jig falling up and down in and out of them weeds, wiggling around. You can work it alongside the weed lines, let it do its job for you, man. You know, and we were even catching stuff up against the seawalls. I even caught something, just for the heck of it, I wanted to go drop down to about a foot, about 2, maybe 3 feet out, man, was catching multi bags of fish along the seawall. And slaughtering bluegill with little jigs tipped with a waxworm. So that's kind of the way I wanted to end this report today, is by saying, get you some small jigs. I would say at the biggest, a 1/32 ounce head. And that, to me right now, that's big. I think you need to drop down into a little micro jig. But get you some wax worms for it. Get you a smaller swim bait. I don't care who makes it, whatever. Just get you one. Get you a couple wobble bobbers. Minnows. Minnows right now are killer. Go get you some minnows. When you get them, make sure you get 2, 3, 4 dozen, because you're going to need them. And that's probably one of the funnest ways to fish with a kid. Take your kid fishing, get minnows, man. You're probably going to have more action for him on a minnow than anything else. I don't know, man. I don't know how to end this, man, because there's so many different ways, and the fish are everywhere in that lake. The fishing's good. I don't care what anybody says. I'll come down there and prove you wrong. Every time I come down there, I'm no expert, you know, and I would love to help each and every one of you. And I know there's other anglers out there that would love to help you also. So in the future here, I'll try to look at more things that will help you, like this wobble bobber and that swim bait. There's a lot of different tactics and techniques you can use, but this is one of my favorite ones that I just accidentally a couple years ago started using because I broke my last bobber that I had with me, and I had a wobble bobber, and I thought, man, that's going to be a little heavier for what I want to use. I just started slaughtering fish. You know, it makes all the difference in the world. But definitely go get you some live bait this week. Stop by Mike's. He's got all new stuff in. He's been tying up them jigs. He's got a bunch of custom jigs made up. And here's the killer thing. If there's stuff on the wall you don't really think you want one of them jigs, you don't like the color combination, talk to him. Mike's nice enough guy. I guarantee he's going to tell you, I'll make one, or make as many as you want to your specifications. What colors would you like? He'll hook you right up, and they're very tough jigs. And I urge you to get a handful of them spiders while you're there. They're wicked. Till next week, you guys be safe out there on the water. You're probably going to want to try to get out safely ahead of these storms. The barometric pressure is going to be dropping here. If you can get out there safely before one of them thunderstorms, it'll produce fish for you. It should be a great weekend and week full of mixed bag adventure. Tight lines, people.